Good morning, guys. Coach Gabe here with Coqui Volleyball Club. We decided to start doing a vlog. This is my first vlog. Keep eyes out. We're going to be posting a lot more vlogs. Got back yesterday. Well, not yesterday. Got back Sunday from the Alabama Icebreaker in Hoover, Alabama. Good tournament. We finished third with the 18s. Like I said before, 18s has one 18-year-old. It mostly consists of 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds. They don't practice together a lot. I mean, barely, honestly. They practice with their own age group teams, and they come together to play. So Brooke can have one last season, and to help Emma get recruited. And we're going to keep doing that. That's just who we are as people and who we are as a team, and kind of the culture that we want to cultivate in who we are. One of my biggest takeaways from this weekend was that they've grown a lot. I mean, and they got a lot to still learn. We need more offense. We need more people active at the net to be able to keep running what we want to run. But I think that my setter is more than qualified to run it. To be honest, I would say that doesn't mean anybody else. I would say that she was the best setter this weekend at that tournament. With what she can run and the speed and the tempo and the leadership and everything she does and how clean the sets were coming. I would say that that's the person. But Emma was extremely consistent on her hitting. Loved it. When she knew when to be aggressive, she knew when to smash it, she knew when to just place it. I mean, it was a very technical, savvy game for her. Fallon, like always, all power. With tips here and there. She loves to tip. Early barrels did good. People that came in did good. Our serving specialist, Ivy, did everything that she needed to do. Very, very underrated position, by the way. A service specialist is extremely important. And it was proven this weekend to us by Ivy, or to the other players, not me, by Ivy, because I already knew a serving specialist is very, very important. And she probably led in aces or points scored during her serving. So, again, I think it was a great weekend. I think that a lot of the kids learned. So I came to practice yesterday with my actual 15s this time around, which means I had, 5 players that play on that 18s national team from that 15s team. So in my head, they're coming back. They're going to bring back what they learned from Brooke and Emma, like the communication, the leadership, how they communicate. Mary Grace as well, like the libero, how calm she was, the passing, all that. So thought they were going to bring it back. Come back, no. It's a crap show. It's a legit crap show. There was no leadership. There was no communication. It went back to just a hot mess of everybody trying to do everything instead of trusting each other to do the job. And that's my issue. I mean, there has to be a knowledge. So even on that 15s, like, we have a great little setter, but she does not think at all. She doesn't use her head. She doesn't study the game. I mean, she just wants to get by her skills alone. She knows who she is, and I don't care if she hears this. She wants to get by her skills alone without putting in the extra work, the physical work that it takes, the mental work that it takes. And she doesn't realize that what Brooke does, which is the person I try to use an example for all of them to learn, is that Brooke sat with me and studied the game forever. Like, me and Brooke sat, always discussed the game, talked IQ, talked matchups. We scouted, she would give me a scouting report. I would give her my scouting report. Like, we worked like that, right? So she knew what to do. And even on certain things, like, for example, sometimes as a coach, I like to let, right now, Brooke, who's 18, evolve and kind of figure out her stuff here and there. But I could tell you there's certain stuff that she still doesn't catch, right? So she didn't catch that every time she ran my lefty middle on the right side, she struggled hitting it, right? It wasn't a good execution, but she kept doing it instead of doing something else. Same as when she said another outside or another right side when she's on the outside. She wasn't effective on the outside position when Brooke set her. And that's for Brooke to catch on, like, okay, that's not being effective. I can't use that in this rotation. I got to use something else. Little things like that. But she catches a lot more, right? So one of the reasons I like that kid is, give you the biggest example that happened this weekend. We go into a timeout. I get on, and I tell Emma, I don't get on her. I tell her, it's like, I know you've been ripping line. You've been killing the line. Let's hit the angle real quick. Let's keep in discipline on the angle, holding the angle. As we're coming out of the timeout, Brooke goes like, Coach Gabe, setters front row, like it's a small block. And I looked at her, I was like, what? She's like, yeah, the setters front row is a small block. That's what she's hitting line. And I was like, you're right. Like I'm wrong. And I looked at Emma, I was like, my bad, Emma. You're right. Keep ripping the line. Keep doing what you're doing. No issues. Like that's leadership, by the way. She didn't do it in a disrespectful way. She actually said it respectfully, probably better than the way I just put it. But, she communicated what she was seeing. And it was clear that it was a matchup thing. And she kept setting Emma, knowing that line was an easy kill for Emma all day, right? And that's the things that other setters don't understand. You got to know your matchups. You got to know how they're going to score, where they're going to score from, and what's working. Like I said, it's just maybe I just carried over how great the 18s impressed me on how they played and the quality coming back into the practice. But I was not happy with this practice. They definitely heard about it. I was very angry at my leaders because they traveled with us. So I was hoping they would learn from Emma and Brooke and how they did things. And for my liberos and DSs, I was hoping they would, or even the outsides, I was hoping they would learn from Mary Grace and her passing and how calm she is through it, knowing that errors are going to happen. So the one thing I hated about this weekend is that I'm trying to enjoy my 18s team and have fun with them and coach him. And I'm getting updates on the other tournament, but I'm also getting, of course, complaints because my kid ain't playing, my kid this, blah, blah, blah. Look, I have a simple concept here, and I've owned it for years now. And eventually people weed themselves out. I do not give playing time. My club does not give playing time just to give playing time. That is not our rule. It's earned, not given, right? So for us, if you want to play, you got to beat the other person on the court. The other person that's starting over you, you got to beat them. Don't expect to get playing time if you don't beat the other person on the court. This is a competition. It's a sport and a competition. The goal is to win, and the coach is going to try to do what they believe is best to win. Okay? So for me, that was the most infuriating thing this weekend is getting that, and because we just started and it's already happening, and I know it's going to continue, and that's like my weakness. I've always been I've been fortunate enough to be gifted with the ability to coach and stuff like that, but directing a club is a whole different level because you're dealing with so many parents, so many personalities, so many kids, so many other logistical crap, and I've grown in that role. It's still hard. I still struggle with it. Hopefully I'll keep growing and just get more help with that side of things. But for me, I'm not gonna be this like sugarcoating kind of person. I've never been. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna play politics to get your money. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna tell you how it is. If you like it, good. If not, go somewhere else where they're gonna take your money and just feed you all this sweetness. I'm not gonna do that. And that's the issue that we had this weekend. And I spoke my mind like I always do. And again, if your kid can't even serve, they should not be on the court because that's a point you're giving. So for me, it's very simple. You can go home and work. Like parents always, a lot of parents, I have a lot of good parents that I love, and there's also parents that just think they know better, and eventually they're in the game, and these are former athletes or whatever, and they think they know the game. Have a parent trying to tell one of my coaches how to coach, and I'm sitting here like, what? What? And I got parents that tell me what they see or don't see. I was like, listen, there's a reason why I do this. You don't know why I do half the stuff I do. It's all volleyball IQ. It's all matchup stuff. Volleyball's a chess match that nobody sees. It really is. And you're going to get coaches that really understand the chess match, and they're going to go back and forth. And I've dealt with those coaches. Those are my favorite matches, where the coach makes an adjustment, you make an adjustment, they make an adjustment, you make an adjustment. It's like, what? It's so fun. That's a fun time. But anyways, parents, just let the coaches coach. If you don't like it, move them later on. Go somewhere else and do whatever you need to do. Maybe they'll get a different coach next season. Who knows? But at the end of the day, just because you played baseball, football, basketball, whatever it is, does not mean you know volleyball. It doesn't. It's a different game. And the biggest thing about our club is very simple that people don't see, and we discuss this. I've discussed this a few times, and I've called some parents out on it. You don't understand. For me, we have supervision throughout all the teams. I, as the top person, I supervise all the ones teams, all the top teams. I even supervise Sydney's team and talk to Sydney about it all the time. Sydney's my assistant director. Sydney, as the assistant director, is in charge of supervising the 2's team's developments and the 12's team development. And that's how we have it split up. And she's always there. She either practices them herself, or she's always there supervising and passing me all the information, which a lot of times I'm also there. And we supervise everything, and we make sure everything's going according to plan, and sometimes it doesn't. But we can't force the kids to work at home. That's a decision they have to make. We can't do it for them. As much as people say that I'm a great coach and do all this stuff, I am not a miracle worker. The reason a lot of my teams that I coach are successful is because the weak people weed themselves out, and the people that want to work stay and do the work. If you don't do the work, by the work, it's not, I put in 5 minutes of work, I'm good to go. It's like really working till you're good. That's the concept. I've gone on a rant on this because I was so frustrated about this weekend and these parents and how they acted, because I just don't get it. I just know for a fact my parents never acted that way. If I sucked, my dad told me, "You suck, you don't deserve to play." And it's not that hard of a situation, or whatever it is. But anyways, that was my weekend. And my practice yesterday wasn't great, but hopefully things will turn around. I got practice with the 15s again today, and maybe they'll change it up, but who knows? All right. Keep checking in, keep checking our vlogs, subscribe so you can see all the new vlogs. We're gonna start to get a little bit more on the podcast. Maybe get some players involved in the podcast. So stay tuned, subscribe so you can see it, and deuces.